Welcome to a late IHP show with your 5D mystic. Let's chit chat about our essence. It's love, but not everyone knows it. Some people have that broken heart stuff, and then they're also afraid of making mistakes. So we talked today a lot about the child parts, being yourself, ventral vagal state, the sense of self. And if you didn't tune into any of it, it's okay. You don't have to. I'm going to remind you the essence of the 5D collective. It's called Christ consciousness, which equals forgiveness, which equals processing, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, happiness, disgust with your bodies. So what I got to understand from our flow state, from the smart neuroscientist, neurobiologist, is that it's the highest performance of your humanness, and that's your embodied brain. And then there's a bunch of people who don't ever really achieve this. Now, I like to go out and have fun, and that's in, the land of the living. So Pinocchio's island is bountiful. There's no Lucifers. There's Gargamels, there's Smurfs, and there's a bunch of people who are actively wearing hats. Their hats are quite fascinating, to say the least, but I digress. As I was trying to say, as the 5D mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, loving community knows, enlightenment is the pearl of all pearls, the gem of all gems. It's called your embodied brain. So as you get body connected, or you don't ever lose it, you don't lose the innocence of what love is, which is also why you, like I, will all sound like a 3-year-old. It's like, no, or it depends. So for our lovely IHP community, we get to have fun with our child parts and our emotions because we're not afraid of any of it that comes up. But that's because we have healthy anger, healthy fear, healthy sadness, healthy surprise, happiness, disgust. When we meet the ones who instead don't, well, sometimes you have to reiterate your healthy boundaries again and again and again, so we don't kick anybody out of the herd. The ones who are afraid, though, this is the unfortunate business. The ones who have the broken heart, they're the ones who are not welcoming of differences at all. In fact, because they're not welcoming of differences, they like to use extreme words and examples, and then they just, kind of butt heads together, which is why they're all Gargamel. Extremists are people who don't know health or their highest performance because they can't do the flow state. So in the meantime, the adolescent essence and the child essence is what you and I get to bring to each other. When you get spiritual gifts or clairs, or what scientists, I think, talk about in ways of us in the consciousness sphere and it wanting to experience itself or blossoming. This is why it's very interesting when you meet other Akashic record readers who know that Akash is love. So Shiva, Shakti, Kali, Krishna Lila, all of that which is within the energetic imprint of that which has many names, consistently by the enlightened ones will be love. And then you have I got taught this from my good Christian Catholic catechists. Every time something bad happens in the world, people turn their back on God and say that it's Lucifer's fault or there's evil somewhere. So it's like, they shame, blame, fault. Or turn to revenge and they continue to basically have feuds that take away love and innocence from other children. And that continue to keep people divisive. So in all of that's the part of why the 5D collective definitely knows that we won't be shaming, blaming, faulting, or revenge and creating more monsters so that children can be afraid of making mistakes. We like to say, as we are all smart with science and spirituality, unlocking the best life ever for you and for me. I already live it. It's called the authentic self. So when you being yourself, you're not afraid to make a mistake to the point of where you'd be like ixnayed. And even if it happens, believe me, you're not like, oh my God, I must now die because they don't want to be my friend anymore. That's where self-sovereign people, it's like, okay, it happens. And then we also know that differences doesn't mean good or bad. We also know that healthy boundaries are important, and we don't say, chamadamp, how dare you? We're healers. We're all healing ourselves, first of all, and then we get to share emotions with each other, and that's even further healing. So the ventral vagal state gets to continuously be brought forth by those who are with that lovely, powerful manifestation technique, going with the flow. And so when we deal with unknowns, uncertainties, unwanteds, and unexpecteds, we're not suffering because we know how to Big girls, they do cry, and so do boys, and so do theys, and so does everybody, but we don't do it with a blah, 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 blah. It's an open-ended, curious, and sometimes it's just like silent. It's like, things happen, rejection happens. I was 4 when it happened. It's just like not abnormal. Oh, and when you hear the grown-ups say that the first love is like the most beautiful of them all, love is love. Like, that's what I am, that's what you are. So one means that we are supporting each other to consistently be our true self. It means we're going to support each other to be healthy, because otherwise what kind of a love is it? So when you don't support each other to be at your best for, the organs, the face, doesn't mean you don't have little flaws. We all have little flaws here and there, but I'm saying we're not like going to be, hey, we want to stay on Pinocchio's island and continue pretending we're alive. It's like, Pinocchio's island is, you're not alive. I mean, you are, but not really. You're pseudo-alive with the body protected and the bad resilience. That's not love. That's actually complete performance. It's an act. It's not your high-performing, flowing state body. So 5D definitely will be distinguished because we're the enlightened group, and that's because our child parts didn't die. And for some people, they got their child parts back alive, freely choosing their free will. So luckily, we have laws that allow us to continue to live. And then we have grown-ups who are scientists who are sharing with anybody who wants to get their innocence back that they can become love. Then we have a 5D mystic, spiritual, mindful collective here who say, yes, our oversoul expands us. Consistently, you get to do spiritual and personal growth when you have a Kundalini awakening, 3 twin flames, soulmates, and your oversoul keeps on just doing amazing things. So now I have the Ascended Masters, Jesus, Buddha, they're high-fiving me, God, you name it. There's like the galactic beings from the future, Atlanteans, Lemurians. So everyone has decided that I get to bring forth one at a time whenever I want, obviously Maria's way. But in the meantime, I'm bringing science. So, the attachment science shows that which every person was meant to be, yourself. So be yourself, because that's the greatest gift you'll give you and the world and us. And you don't need to be afraid of making mistakes, because we all fuck it up. We just don't fall down and think that life is hitting us hard and that we can't get back up. You see, we're using our body in its ventral vagal state. So we say, hey, child parts, it's cool. You have a right to be angry. We don't need to project our anger. Oh, we also have a right to be upset and frustrated. By the way, I got my menu. It's a really cool menu, so I'm not upset about it. The Nutritionist Diary. Here's my first entry. Maria thinks the diet is pretty cool. I don't have to think about what I want to eat. I just need to make sure I can respect the times. Don't worry, we'll have our first, I think it's called IRL in real life. I think I fucked that one up the other day and said ILR. So there you go. I'm not afraid of losing people, the community here, because I make mistakes. I'm always making mistakes. I even use words my own way. So when you're a person who's cool with being yourself, this is a teenage boyfriend, first cheating incident. I said, look, I know what our friends do. I'm not going to be checking your phone. I told you I'm not jealous. I'm not insecure. You may say it's your culture, but jealousy is an insecure thing. I'm not afraid of losing you. I mean, we talk about things, so really, it's just, that's how simple it is. Plus, if I didn't trust you, I wouldn't be with you at all. Like, I'm not that stupid. What do you think, that I am hanging out with people I don't trust? Once you find out that there's one backstabber, then there's 2 backstabbers, and there's 3. You don't say, oh, all humanity are backstabbers. You say, wow, all humanity are cowards? No, that's black and white thinking, but definitely there's a bunch of people who are afraid of making mistakes, subconsciously, unconsciously, like my facade friend who continued to not be their self, lie to me, and thanks to him, I don't say anything. And thanks to attachment and trauma educators, I know what Fakos are. They're the same ones that I've been meeting since I was a kid that don't know authenticity, and they want pats on the back, and I don't give you pats. I will reiterate my statement, and then I'll do it annoyingly. And when people do I'm just joking, I don't give a shit if you're joking, I don't get jokes. So when you are a petulant, yes. So when you just really, really adamantly want something, what is that called? It's called our 3-year-old. Now, there's a healthy way to share that, which is where you don't insult the character of another person. You don't block them, cancel them, get all exaggerated. But you basically like, okay, you're frustrating me. And it's not with the calm tone. It's just, I'm just thinking about a friend of mine that I consistently have to repeat myself due to the fact that they are not common sense. And that's when people are like, don't you think that you're taking things a little bit too far? No. Healthy boundaries with children are required from other children voices so that they can do, kind of like the little cat and dog thing. So it's more of it's not love-hate, because you don't love-hate, that's bullshit. It's more of let's be annoying children together, and then I will continue to remember that those who got beaten and treated like shit, they don't know how to be human beings with prefrontal cortexes. And I'm talking about the ones who completely do the dark sides of neuroplasticity. I never thought that I would be meeting Pinocchio on his island, but you do. So it's okay. They don't get kicked out of the herd. It's kind of like Sid. He brings along a lot of his troubles, and Manny and Diego have to get him out of trouble, because Sid continuously, it's when you don't have healthy boundaries, the poreless, boundaryless people, they also have the other walled off people. So you see, they don't know how to be, which is their innocence and the love that they're supposed to be. They're afraid of making mistakes, so they perform, and until they don't become their true self, they will manifest a lot of pseudo live stories, and we have fun watching from afar. But yeah, they don't, definitely. It's so when I got broken up with, people said, you let him get away. I said, who, my dog? I didn't have a dog. I have cats because they come back. Some don't come back, which still, it's a cat. But the point was that I didn't let anyone get away. If we're different to the point of where it's different, I mean, and really, if it's that easy to take you away, obviously you're not the person that, you don't have strength, you don't have commitment, you know what I mean? And also, is it really that? Can't it just be that, tomato, let's call the whole thing off? Because that's as simple as it is when you're securely attached to an untraumatized 1-year-old. Things happen. Like, I have air, water, food. I got rejected at 4. Why are there grown-ups still harboring resentment for, like, they're now fake twin flame, then they're fake divine counterpart, then they're karmic, then this? Why are they creating all these words? And oh, by the way, all of the oversoul is very important, because they support you to become the best version of yourself. If you choose love, obviously. If you choose to continue to pretend that you are perfect, that's a whole different story, and I'm imperfect. So I just continue to share with you all innocence. You don't lose it when you say yes to Jesus, God, Holy Spirit. And God reminds me, as he'll remind anybody else, don't judge your brothers and sisters of human suffering, a waste of your fucking time, and let's not cast stones. So there's no monsters inside anyone, but when they are afraid of making a mistake, they hide away. And that's sad, because nobody needs to hide. It's called the shame stuff. Nobody is defective. Everyone deserves love. And unfortunately, the innocence of children gets stripped away from them in physical, unfortunate business called, yes, we know, that which should not be happening in the year 2025. It reminds me of a cartoon I saw where there's this little town with a feud where they completely go boinkers just because they're like in this forever feud. And a cartoon's a cartoon. Real life, it's sad. It's not suffering. It's pretty sad. True leadership knows how to handle itself. In fact, what makes me smile inside is that, one, God always takes care of everything, and Dharma is what the planet is in as a mystic. And so besides people choosing love or basically avoiding all of us, that's how it's going to work. So 4D and 3D won't be around people who are ventral energy. They won't be around authentic, because the truth has balance, equilibrium. It means equanimity and discernment. So we don't yell at each other in our faces, and we don't use words as labels. We use words to try and create conversations. Then we know when we have the smart, intelligent, emotional, mental, physical ones, and when we have the scaredy cats who are trying to put up their best performance because they're avoiding actually being seen because their heart was broken, and therefore they're completely full of, like my facade friend, fakeness. So with that, it's not about twin flame or oversoul. This is where it's two groups, the group that are real and then the group that pretend to be real. And when they pretend to be real, they're stingy with everything. They also think they know shit, and then they hide away again with shame, blame, fault, revenge. So they continue to do this little dance. Do a little dance and do a little more dance. Get down tonight. I'm changing the song on purpose, but my point was that enlightening and expanding is really fun for those who choose to work with the trauma charges and the emotional stuff. So once you're done with the MDR child parts work somatics, then you do personal spiritual growth. And for ascension energies, it's always bringing all of it up. And dharma is what's here. So karma is being slowly closed out. For people who think that we need to save the planet or the world or humanity, they're not broken. And the ones who are can get fixed, but it's not because we make them love themselves first. We don't make anybody have the common sense to notice, why are you so afraid of being the real you? Why are you so afraid of having healthy anger, healthy sadness, healthy fear, healthy surprise, healthy happiness, healthy disgust? Is there something you might want to notice, Pinocchio, while you're on that island? Did you notice the kids turning with their donkey ears? Yeah, the shame bind doesn't look good. As you get older, it begins to look really, really uninteresting. It still will definitely make people laugh, yes, all of those who are their adolescent essence, because they're still adolescents. The grown-ups will simply not be able to pity anyone because that's disrespectful, and we do know everybody does the best they can. So you do learn how Sid, Manny, and Diego always get along. Teenage boyfriend, not the best of the best of the best of the best, but not the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. And really, that's not nice. So what I'm going to say is the grown-ups were wrong. Love is a consistency. And Eric Fromm is the first man who I got to like, wow, he knows that love is a verb like I do. And then Dr. Daniel Siegel is the other man who's like, and you don't change when you own the sense of self. Wow, he knows me so well. So you know your personality patterns and your temperament, and that's why you know what pisses the fuck off of you, which is also why a child will always say the truth, even as a grown-up, and then they won't behave like a child, which is what is beautiful about having your child parts, your innocence, and all of you here, which is what people who can't stand that we don't suffer, they just say, the stupid people, that's why they don't want to be around us, because they're going to continue looking out there in the world, and I'm going to be like, Buddha, you sat under a tree, where's the future Buddha? Because seriously, they're just dragging the suffering pain point around, not going to therapy, they're not doing anything with it. They're just avoiding to make mistakes with new people. They're going to like skip and hoppity hop. So when you see 3D, 4D, they manifest. They just lose people along the way because, you know, they're rising above. And then they create a bunch of more stories, which we're going to see what happens. But in the meantime, thanks for stopping by. Again, it is really nice to know that our essence is love and that those who are heartbroken, they're afraid of making mistakes, but we'll let them know we all make mistakes. Look at me all the time. Like, seriously. So we welcome each other in open arms, and it doesn't matter what side of anything you come from. That's why when you overflow in your humanity, divinity descends, as it's called common sense, owning sense of self. Personality patterns, temperament, attachment, every bit of you is an energetic sphere of blah, 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 blah. Feelings, oh look, feelings, yay, feelings, oh look, nervous system, we get to do social engagement, and then we get to continue engaging with other people. This is what it's like to be a self-sovereign human being who has child parts. And then Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, who remind me how to say yes, and Buddha, and Akash, and just all of it. It's real. I know it seems like I make fun of it, but it's because we like to be woo-woo pseudoscience. So the science is people can come and have fun with us and know that we're cool, like polyamory. We're not whores or masochists. We totally have laughs because we're securely attached, non-traumatized people. And so that means you're an actual love button, because love shack is a little, because you're a human being who is, it's not personal when you have emotionally immature people. The ones who avoid making mistakes because they're afraid, they were heartbroken because they got treated really poorly. So we want them to know, look, we make mistakes just as much as anybody else does. We don't suffer the children who suffer because we are going to do something about it, since we have smart scientists and they're all there and they work with the spiritual ones. They come together, unlock your full potential. It's the flow state, your body connected, your prefrontal cortex, your child parts all whole, so it's all done. We're a team. God knows all about it, and there's no monster to blame. There's just the shame stuff to blame, but it's not really to blame because our ancestors, it wasn't their fault. They were one alone with the bears. So whenever we'd get kicked out, it would be, you're eaten. So they got kicked out. This is evolutionary psychologists, so shame be like that. Now we know how to repair ruptures so that children don't stay like that. So it's a third attunement, repairing ruptures. parenting. I'm not a parent, but it's not about perfection. It's about forgiveness and knowing, and then taking awareness, accountability, regulation skills seriously. That's why we love, and that's why we can make mistakes without fear of being ixnayed. So when you meet adaptive child part people, they're ixnaying each other. That's because they're rigid, unforgiving, harsh, and that's a child's version of what an adult coulda, shoulda, woulda done, which is why we're like, okay, let's leave them alone to play Pinocchio, Peter Pan, and continue to do what, the Peter Pan and Pinocchio do on those islands. And they continue to stay far, far, far away from us because they don't like that we're grounded in reality. So any of our cherishable beliefs can be falsifiable, and so can theirs. And so they're like, no, we're going to prove it. And it's like, okay, look, scientists continue to try to prove a lot of things. They have quantitative data. They've proven embodied brain, no demon inside of anyone. Just the person who can heal, become their higher self, become pure love, and actually have a good time. Join us here, being yourself, with the complete and most amazing of powers, manifestation tool, going with flow and using your heart. Do a little dance, make more dances, and making a lot of love in life and living. And join us again tomorrow. Have a good one.